Charlie Watts, the drummer from the legendary British rock group The Rolling Stones, has died at the age of 80. This is News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil, and joining me is Tom. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Neil, and hello to our audience. Don't forget, if you want to test yourself on today's vocabulary, there's a quiz at bbclearningenglish.com. Now, let's hear about this story from a BBC Radio report.
His face is on the front pages of all the papers this morning. Even the Financial Times finds room, and that's because Charlie Watts, who died yesterday at the age of 80, was no ordinary drummer, keeping the beat for no ordinary band. The Rolling Stones will live on, but something essential, something really fundamental to the sound they created, has gone.
So, Charlie Watts, drummer of the Rolling Stones, has died. Newspapers in the UK and abroad have paid respect to the late drummer. Watts died at the age of 80, and this was shortly after cancelling his appearance on the most recent planned tour.
Yeah, sad news for fans of the Rolling Stones. You've been looking at this story and you've picked out 3 words and expressions that we can use to talk about it. What have you got?
I have 3 words and expressions: backbone, rock, and pay tribute.
Backbone, rock, and pay tribute. Let's start with your first headline then, please, Tom.
My first headline, Neil, is from the Miami Herald in the US. It says, drummer Charlie Watts, Rolling Stones backbone, dies at 80. And that word is backbone.
Backbone, meaning main support. Now, backbone, that word made up of 2 words, back and bone. I know what that is. That's your spine, isn't it?
Yeah, you know the medical use. So the spine is your backbone. And what does it do, Neil? What is the purpose of this spine or backbone in the body?
Well, it supports everything else. All of the other main bones come off it, and it's really central. Without it, the body would collapse.
Yeah, it quite literally holds everything together. And it's in this way that this use is similar. We're not talking about an actual bone in your body, but when we say Charlie Watts was the backbone of the Rolling Stones, we mean that he helped to keep the group together. This could be because of his personality, or as a drummer, he helps to keep other musicians in time.
Yeah, that's right. And we use that expression to be the backbone of something precisely like that, to say that something is really important in terms of supporting something.
Yeah, and it's quite a positive thing to say. There's another use of backbone which refers to kind of strength of character. If someone displays backbone, or you could say if they have a lot of backbone, it means they display great strength of character and they're a sort of strong person.
Okay, so that's a slightly different meaning to the one in this headline then, where we're saying that somebody is important for supporting. This is about the strength or how brave somebody is.
Yeah, precisely. So imagine it one day, Neil, if I didn't want to do news review and I said, oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like it, I don't know if I can do it. And you said, Tom, come on, show some backbone, do the job. It means kind of be strong.
Yeah. And interestingly, we talk about spine in a similar way to mean sort of being brave. We can say that somebody who isn't brave is spineless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So almost the opposite of having backbone is being spineless, which if you say to someone, don't be spineless, it means don't be a wimp. You know, you need to be brave.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, shall we get a summary?
Let's do that.
If you like stories about music, we have the perfect one for you about whether or not music's getting faster. What do our viewers have to do, Tom?
They just need to groove on down the page and click the link in the video description.
Let's have a look now at your second headline.
Of course, my second headline is from the Financial Times in the UK. It says, Charlie Watts, rock of the Rolling Stones, dies at 80. And the word is rock.
So rock, strong, reliable person.
Yeah, rock, strong, reliable person. Now I've chosen this today, Neil, because lots of people know what a rock is, and it relates to a stone, actually. But there are all these other uses of rock that we use in English as well. I thought this would be a good opportunity to look at these.
Yeah, and in this headline, the use of the word rock has multiple meanings, and that's very typical of a headline. We call these puns. They are plays on words.
They are, of course, yeah, because Charlie Watts was a rock musician. He played in a rock band, and to describe him as the rock of a band is quite appropriate. The meaning is almost similar. If you think of a rock, it's strong, it's hard. And these are adjectives we could use to describe rock music as well, which has a sort of strong, hard, and powerful sound.
Yeah. And if we describe someone as your rock or my rock, we're talking about the strength that they give you.
Yeah, so this is more in a sort of emotional context. If you have a husband or wife or partner and you say, you are my rock, or this person is my rock, it means you are my sort of person that I depend on. You're my number one person that I rely on for support.
Yeah, okay. What else can we say about this word?
About rock. So in the headline, what it's saying is that Charlie Watts was a strong and reliable band member. It's quite actually similar to the first headline. It's a respectful play to the late drummer.
Okay, then let's get a summary. So we've had Stones, rock, and now we have metal, all about music. We've got a 6-minute English program about death metal and whether it can bring people joy. Where can our viewers find that, Tom?
Our viewers can find that, Neil, again by scrolling down the page, clicking the link. I'm a big death metal fan, and I personally really enjoyed this episode.
It's given you plenty of joy.
Yes, always.
Okay, let's have a look at your next headline.
Great. Okay, our next headline, appropriately, is from Rolling Stone magazine. It says, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr pay tribute to Charlie Watts. Charlie was a rock. There's that word rock again. But our expression here is pay tribute.
Pay tribute. Honour someone or something.
Pay tribute. So, in history, tribute is money that you would pay to a king, a queen, or a ruler of somewhere. And you did this to show respect. It was a form of respect. So it has this figurative usage of paying respect. Obviously, in the modern times, when people pay tribute to someone, they don't give them money. They're more likely to give them a nice statement or write a song. But the idea of money is where you get the verb collocation pay. So pay tribute to someone means show respect to somebody.
And this is really, really common when somebody famous dies. We see this expression to pay tribute to someone all the time.
Yeah, definitely. So we'd normally do it through statements or acts, or it's very popular with artists as well. In fact, if you have a song, you can say that a song is a tribute to someone. You can use tribute as a noun. So if we were to play a song now, Neil, we could say this is a tribute to Charlie Watts. It means it's intended for his memory.
Yeah, and also that word tribute as a noun can be modified by an adjective connected to the type of tribute. So, for example, if you wrote a song about someone that you wanted to honour, it would be called a musical tribute.
A musical tribute, yeah. Or, in fact, Neil, there are actually bands that just copy the song and the style of other bands. Do you know these bands?
Yeah, they're called tribute bands.
They are tribute bands, yes. So they're just the people who copy it and play much smaller venues and just don't write their own songs. So if we formed a Rolling Stones tribute band, what could we could call ourselves the Rolling Rocks, because Rock Stone.
I think we should do it.
Similar.
We should definitely do it.
I think we should do it as well. Let's get the guitars down.
Okay, let's get a summary. Time now then for a recap of the vocabulary, please, Tom.
Of course, today's vocabulary, we have backbone, main support, rock, strong, reliable person, and pay tribute, which means honour someone or something.
The best way to learn vocabulary is to test yourself, and you can do that by visiting our website, bbclearningenglish.com. You'll find a quiz on the words that we've talked about today. And don't forget, we're also all over social media. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye.
See you.